Hey everybody, my fellow Web3 citizens, welcome back to another episode of the Smart NFT podcast. I'm still your host, Eugene Crypto MC, and today I am very happy to say that I'm joined by my old buddy. He's Jaden Sage. He's the founder and CEO of the Foundation, Celestial Ventures, and GCC Global Crypto Council. He's investor, speaker, advisor. He's focused on economic dynamics of Earth, including blockchain and crypto, planet Earth, we mean, then going beyond Earth, Moon, Mars, and space stations, and of course, artificial artificial general intelligence. We've set up our topic today about the upcoming crypto melt up. It's going to be so interesting. So I anticipate an extremely useful discussion today, JD. I'm very happy to have you on this podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Eugene. So, there's a lot going on in the world, right? And we're all just spinning. It's all spinning around us like a twister, and we're like caught, and we see things moving around, and it's like, oh, what's this? What's this? So we're caught in this really bad mix. So, I'll let you lead whichever angle of this twister that you want to talk about.
Well, so for the introduction to our audience, what should we know about your journey and the business and investor background? What should we know about how you got interested into all the niches that you cover right now with Foundation, Celestial, and Global Crypto Council, and briefly about these two core projects of your business right now?
Yeah, I mean, all my endeavors, basically the foundation, the common denominator in all of them is economics, right? So economics are gyrated by market conditions and whatnot. So whether it's space, that's what Celestial Ventures invests in, space startups. So whether it's that, or whether the foundation is a space think tank designed to help facilitate humanity's transfer into space, that's not going to be easy. It's not just about a SpaceX or Blue Origin rocket gets us there. Great, we're there. Now what do we do? We have so many more needs. You cannot just focus on the bus. Like the bus will get you there, but once you get to the other side, what are you going to do? How are you going to live? All of those things, food, security, protection from radiation. So all of those elements come into play. And that's what the foundation aims to create: dialogue and discourse and policies and all of that stuff. So that's what it covers in the foundation. GCC, Global Crypto Council, focuses primarily on advising and investing in crypto startups. Been in that crypto space forever. So, that's where it encompasses. But although they seem differentiated, they're actually very similar, and including AI, because AI and AGI coming, some would say it's already here, but all of those are going to impact every aspect of our life, right? So even within crypto, it's already having a massive impact. It's having an impact from the plastic manufacturing to everything that's happening with politicians trying to keep jobs. First, politicians were trying to keep jobs in their nations, and they were concerned that jobs were being outsourced. Now you can keep all the jobs you want, but they would still be gone. So if, let's say, because I don't want to go deep dive into this, but let's say that never happened. Let's say the jobs were never outsourced to China and the developing world at that time from the 80s onwards. Well, today, even if all those jobs were in your country, AI is going to gut them. So we would wind up in that same boat either way. And now we can't even blame some other nation to say, oh, they took our jobs, or it was the bad politicians who took that job away. Now technology is coming to take away the jobs. So either way, the jobs are going. And as fast as we wake up to that reality, the faster we can figure out what we're going to do about it, rather than endlessly debate who to blame,
Definitely, this is a huge topic, of course, and let's focus on our specific topic of today's discussion. So you suggested to talk about crypto melt up. This is the first time I've heard this term from you, and all I knew about the world, the verb melting, is first association was with the American history, which is widely known as a melting pot for all the nations in the previous 250 years. And second was the book of famous American historian Thomas Woods, Meltdown, which wrote about capitalism and so on and so forth. So the word melting regarding to crypto, well, the best person who said it to me, and I jumped into Google, and Google said to me that crypto melt up by the Google version is a phenomenon characterized by rapid and unexpected price appreciation, driven by investor sentiment and speculation rather than fundamental improvements. So I agree with this definition. What we should know about crypto and why should we care, regardless of just price increasing? Everybody understands this is good for the party of investors. I'm not an investor right now, so I would love to understand the phenomena and whole pros and cons, minus and pluses, and so on and so forth.
Look, a crypto melt-up, just for your audience, a meltdown is when you have price depreciation, right? So all your asset classes are going down. So in pre-COVID, in 1999, there was a lot more fundamentals involved in asset valuation, whether they were stocks, bonds, real estate, crypto. It was based on fundamentals. There was a time when people would actually ask, remember the Lightning Network in BTC? That was like, okay, that's going to facilitate faster transactions. And that's when BTC will go up because now you can use it as a form of currency. So those were fundamental drivers to facilitate an increase in the value of Bitcoin. But then COVID happened. And through COVID, there was an influx of lots and lots of money, cheap money going into the market, which artificially raised the prices of all asset classes. Nothing was immune. First, you had assets, the rich people thing, right? Those who own assets are richer than the ones who don't. So that went up. You had first you had the stock market go up, then you have the crypto market. And then what do people do? They take paper assets and then they convert them into tangible assets, aka real estate. So first the paper assets went up, and then went up the the tangible assets, real estate. So everything started going up. Then that trickles down because everybody now has money. Your house was 500,000. First you sold your BTC at 50,000, bought yourself a house, and you competed with other people, and that $300,000 house you bought for 500, now people are coming and offering you 700. We're all in that cycle. You have $200,000 more. You run to the car dealership, and now you're like, I want to buy that car. I don't care how much. The car dealership has more money. He goes and buys more food, and now the food prices are spiking. So commodity prices start spiking. So it's a trickle down effect that affects the poorest of the poor. It starts from the rich, affects the poor. So everybody was impacted. So the governments, at least in the US, the Federal Reserve said, okay, we're going to put a cap on this inflation. It's affecting all asset classes and all socioeconomic groups. Now we're going to raise interest rates. Well, they raised interest rates. Problem there is that they can only maintain it so long because they have to do treasury auctions. They have to sell their debt in the open market. And the interest rate that they have to provide to that is higher because they raise the interest rates. So when they offer a higher interest rate on those treasuries, it automatically means that the amount that has to be paid back, debt service, is higher. So it's not in their interest anymore to keep that debt at high interest rates. So they want to reduce the interest rates. But if you take away that problem, when the debt was very sustainable, usually they would keep the interest rate high enough to facilitate a recession, a meltdown. So you would actually have a meltdown where asset prices are going down, BTC is going down, stocks going down, houses go back down to 250. And then you're like, oh my God, oh my God. But then when they start lowering the interest rate, it starts rising again from 250. So you're operating in a band where fundamentals still make sense. The fundamentals are still in the process. But now here's the situation. They can only sustain, because of that debt service, such high interest rates for so long. So now they're dropping the interest rates and the prices never went down. Inflation is still here. Go to the grocery store, inflation is still here. So it's not gone away. So not from here, pre-pandemic, but the asset prices are here. And now if you give cheap money in the market, the assets aren't going to go here. They're going to actually now go this way, because cheaper money facilitates the same impact that we had in 2020. More money means more speculation, more money for risk on assets. What does risk on assets mean? Tech stocks, crypto, these are all risk on assets. So they will all start increasing in valuation. And that is what's called a melt up, where all prices then go further higher from here when they're already at unsustainable levels. It's pretty much Looney Tunes, when you go out there, in my local market, go to a cafe and you buy coffee. It used to be $2.50. Now it's $7.50. That's unsustainable. So you have coffee with somebody, you just paid 15 USD. That's stupid. Now, if you're going to create this type of dynamic, where's the price of coffee going to be? 2 coffees, 30. So that's the melt up. And this is the challenge that we're in, because people think, here's the big takeaway, Eugene. It's not that this is a party because now BTC is going up, all your assets, everything will go up. So when you try to trade out your BTC and say now, oh, my BTC is at 150,000, I can finally afford to buy that $700,000 house. Now that $700,000 house is 1.4 million. So you're still not able to buy it. So, your coffee went to 30. So it's just everything moving up is on the surface, it looks good, but it's actually very negative for everybody concerned.
Well, all you did right now, you explained in practical and I would say general economic historian terms, which are understandable for every US citizen, not US citizen. All the theoretical stuff that we've been teaching and learning for decades, Austrian School of Economics. And for our American listeners who maybe listen us now, I highly encourage you to go on the biggest and famous think tank, which is dedicated to Austrian School of Economics, which is situated in the Auburn, Alabama, Mises.org, Mises Institute. So I'll put a link in the description. So this is a point where you can get a knowledge on the business cycle theory, which Jaden has just explained in terms of his inside observations being inside the US. You see, we came close to the current problems of the US economy, which probably every educated man in the world is looking for and try to realize. So I'd love to ask you about 2 things. First, you mostly explained the phenomenon of the great inflation in the US, which is absolutely incredible for all American citizens understand that something is wrong with our economy. The vast majority of people understand what the Fed does. Inflates money. He makes business cycles. He is responsible for inflation. And from my point of view, a lot of crypto enthusiasts, they are not experienced in Austrian economics. They are not. They just are funny about price growing. Oh, Bitcoin hits 100K, and you paid their attention that, guys, this party may be over soon because it's driven by, not just by because Bitcoin is so good. We know that Bitcoin is very good. It's been already for 15 years good. But don't you pay attention on another factor which you might not even realize, the factor of money emission by the Federal Reserve System, which has created 35 trillion debt of the US. And Trump says something driven things about how to release this debt with buying Bitcoin. Of course, this is not an idea I'd love to discuss, but he thinks like entrepreneur. A lot of problems here in the US economy, and the US economy is still the biggest economy in the world, which is responsible for a military operation all around the world. A lot of problems is concerned to our discussion. So we cover not just crypto melt up, we cover the whole economic situation from the practical and theoretical standpoint right now in this episode. First of all, guys, learn Austrian economics, learn how business cycle works, learn how the fiat money system works. It is responsible for melting up the prices. And I didn't mention the book of Thomas Woods in vain, because his book was called Meltdown, and didn't also mention the word meltdown. So after any melt up, meltdown is inevitable. This is like how business cycle theory works. Well, Jaden, what should we know about upcoming 4 years of Trump presidential candidacy? Should we care about that or should we not care about that? What to expect, you as an insider must have told us today.
I think the first Trump presidency versus the second one is going to be obviously different, because think of it this way. When you think he went to the White House the first time, right? When you went to, say, a city for the first time, your experience was different. Then when you go to that same city the second time, it's completely different. You know, you don't go to the touristy places. You don't do some of the crazy things. You just basically do what you need to do in that city and you leave. So this is his second visit to the White House. So whatever he tried to do, which was a little bit outlandish and which was a little bold or crazy, this time he knows that's not going to work. The judges are going to stop him from doing this. So why bother wasting your energies on things that aren't going to produce? So even he has more experience in the White House. So he's going to try to effectuate policies that he knows he can make a dent in rather than chase things as a newbie. So he's not a newbie anymore. And he's also had one benefit that other presidents usually don't have. He actually was away as president for 4 years. So that's like, when you have a president who's running for 8 years straight, it's totally different than when you went away on vacation. It wasn't a vacation, but like, he went away. Now he's coming back. So he's basically operating on a 12-year cycle at this point, right? Because he's like when he gets out, he's kind of been president, not president, and then president in a 12-year cycle. So he has, just like any other human, doesn't make Trump special. Any human with 12 years of experience in a job versus, just 8 straight years is going to have a lot more observation, a lot more thinking, pensive state. So that's the positive, that, he can't do what he did in the first time around because he has a lot more experience this time. Second thing is, everybody likes to either love Trump or hate Trump. I mean, I don't envy his job. I mean, the dynamics that we're dealing with are not easy. Like, put yourself in that situation, or myself. AI is still going to take away the jobs. All of the international, outsourcing is still continuing. The middle class has, for a good portion of it, has evaporated in the United States. Factory jobs are not coming back because nobody wants to pay somebody to turn a wrench $35 in the US when it could be done for $2 in another country. So why would any automobile manufacturer set up here so they can be paid $35 to go like this all day when you can pay somebody $2 a day? So that's not going to change. So his job is not easy. He's also caught in that twister, and we're just like, here, be the Mr. Fix Everything. Well, it's not in the power of any one human. Believe it or not, it's in the power of all of us collectively to have the dialogue, to help the front man, because the front man is nothing without his troops, right? And we are collectively all the troops, whether you're sitting in Ukraine, whether you're sitting in, China, we are going to collectively determine the policies and what happens in the world, all of us. And when we wake up to that responsibility, this world will change much faster than when we just say, well, I'm just going to do my thing and I don't really care what's happening in the world. Well, when you act like that, that's why, certain people in power do things which you don't agree with because you were never there to voice your disagreement. So this is the overarching dynamic. So Trump 2.0 will not be Trump 1.0. Trump 2.0 will also not be able to change everything. Like 4 years out from now, in 2030 or whenever he gets out, it won't be like, oh, wow, America's completely different. There is no Mr. Fix Everything. All this guy can try, and the next guy can try. And then we collectively also have to try. The world is changing. The world is pivoting to a multipolar world. There's so many powers in Asia now. They may be mid-level powers, but they're only rising. So, the world has to balance out. It can't just be like US and everybody go along. It's going to have to balance out. And whether we like it in the US or we don't like it, just go ask the British. Just go ask them that after 1945, how did you feel about not having your empire? Well, they probably hated it. But at the same time, they had to balance out their role going forward. And that's something that we're going to have to do. And whoever the next power is, or the set of powers, at one point, they're going to have that. Gravity affects all of us. Just like you were saying, melt up will be led in the future by a meltdown. Gravity doesn't go away. So melt up is here. Meltdown will occur. Just like that, an empire rises, an empire falls, even future ones will fall. To think no empire ever falls, just ask all the other empires in the past. What happened? That's what happens.
I would recommend, guys, if you think that empire don't fall, learn the history. Learn the history and look at every empire. Every empire that ever existed in human history had fallen. Every empire. Not starting with the Roman Empire, just before Roman Empire, a lot of empires. Soviet Empire, and maybe if you are hinting us that, I don't know how many of your peers are thinking that the US is also the empire. It exists just in 2 years. It will be existing for 250 years, starting with 1776. And for two and a half centuries, probably has become an empire. And this also means that it probably may also fall. And this is inevitable. It's like history works.
I just want to mention that even the U.S. empire, the U.S. was founded in 1776.
Yes.
But the U.S. was not the empire. The
Of
U.S.
course,
only
of course.
became
It was a
dominant.
libertarian project of founding father, a totally
Right.
libertarian, the most libertarian project ever founded in practice by founding fathers.
But it didn't start out as being the number one. It only became number one actually in 1990. In 1945, it became one
After
of
Second
two.
World War.
Yeah, after World War II, it became one of two dominant powers. And then in 1990, it became the sole, if
Right.
you quote unquote, empire. So how many years is that? That's 34 years.
Yeah.
That's, that's not even a lot of time. In the 1800s, the British, the French, and all the others were still quite powerful, and America was just trying to find its way. And the same thing applies for others. So and this is another thing, these cycles are going to go faster and faster. Everything is speeding up. So the future empires are also not going to remain dominant for, a few thousand years, a few hundred years. They're all going to cycle out faster and faster because everything is cycling out faster and faster now.
Well, by the way, and this time when we're recording this episode, the Syrian regime of Bashar Assad has finally fallen, probably. What are your thoughts on that?
I think what's happening, if you focus in on the micro level, you're like, okay, this is good, this is bad. And, we try to place, stamps on them. The thing is that the world is at a point where we're all trying to do a big resort. Like resort of past grievances, resorts of boundaries that were created maybe in World War II or even later. And then everybody's trying to figure out their place. And technology, bringing it back home to tech, which is the world where we live in, technology is empowering everybody in a variety of ways, including nations. So what you didn't know in the past, you now know. I have access to knowledge as well as you and everybody else from around the world, live in many cases. So we know live, there's a guy with a camera live in some of these conflict zones shooting, and there's a guy sitting somewhere in Alaska and be like, oh, wow, I'm watching this live. That has never happened. So with this, you are living in empowered citizenry around the world, and that's what is causing this great resort. Before, you didn't know. You didn't know what was happening in Russia and Ukraine if there was a conflict. You wouldn't know. You just hear it later. Like we used to have genocides in Africa, and you find out when somebody went there and said, oh my God, or the Holocaust, when we actually got there, it was like, oh my God, look how many people were dead, right? Were killed in these concentration camps. We didn't know until after the fact. Now we know it live streaming. So the world is no longer willing to put up with the type of situations that it used to in the past. So this is the great sort out, where everything is being sorted out. The caveat here is let's do this sort out without destroying our civilization. That's a big takeaway.
Let me finally ask you, considering all that you have said before, let me ask you in this Bankless podcast style, what are you bullish for and what are you bearish for? What do you expect? Where to base our expectations? What is the safe place where we may put our feet and our might on? So what's not important? What should we not pay attention for?
The noise of the politicians is the one thing that you need to not focus as much on, because the politicians slowly are becoming more and more disempowered. And they're getting disempowered based off of all the technology. No politician can ban AI. In the US, we've been trying to ban TikTok, and it's had mixed results. Nobody can stop the onslaught of BTC as another value proposition. Nobody can stop it. How do you stop Bitcoin? How do you stop even a meme coin? So we're living in a world where the politicians are becoming disempowered more and more. And what's becoming empowered is the citizenry. So, and everybody's becoming global, especially in crypto, right? Like, so you can go and you can spend a day in Dubai, you can spend a day in Singapore, you could spend time in different parts of the world, in Africa, Namibia, you could go to Rwanda and learn where there's growth opportunities. And so you're empowered to take the opportunities that are presented to you based on you getting out there, right? Like, so you're going out there and you're exploring your options and you are finding things. So we talked a lot about the negatives of everything that's going on. The positive is that you are empowered right from your home. You can learn so much, whether it's crypto, whether it's what we were talking about before we started, crypto AI agents. It's just exploding right now. You can actually learn about it, go find people out there, and then engage in it. So there's an explosion of opportunities coming from the tech side that you can engage in and build your future. And that's the way we need to operate. The one thing that people get caught up, it's psychological, is they lack self-confidence. They'll be like, oh, maybe I can't do that. That sounds great for that guy because he's got this going on or that going on, but I can't do it. No, you can do it. The one thing I've learned, I've met people around the world with the most disempowering situations where the only thing I could think about was like, wow, I have nothing to complain about. If this person can accomplish or where they are at based on I've literally talked to people who've spent a good portion of their youth in prisons and then found their own way online to learn about, say, crypto, and then go out there and build themselves a business within crypto. So their past is no reflection of their future. And that applies to each and every one of us. And that's based off of the technological empowerment that we're getting. So if you engage and recognize that you can use this empowerment for your benefit, then you will worry less about what he said, she said. You're not trapped. You're no longer trapped to a set of dynamics. You're free to explore your options. And that's what everybody should engage in.
Indeed. Even if we have an incredible level of turbulency and uncertainty in today's world, right now at the second side, we have an immensely grown-up technology level. We never had internet, crypto, Zoom, and so on and so forth, even 30 years ago. I do remember this time very well. First time I had internet in 1998 when I was studying at university. And I saw how the world has changed in this very short period of time of a quarter of a century. Immensely changed. And crypto finally led us to exchange our money value without intermediaries right now, P2P from the internet. The world never was this, and it gave us an amazing range of opportunities. Okay, Jaden, we need to talk more often. This is my core conclusion for today's episode. Thank you very much for sharing your vision. This is how investors think. This is absolutely great. I think we made a short summary of 2024 in this December. I think we will meet in the next episodes and talk about different things which are worth your attention, not by the politicians and news. Anything you would like to add in the end of our episode? Your recommendations, advisors, links, call to actions, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, the greatest message that I would like to impart is that what I've seen as a speaker around the world is that lots of time people feel that they're the imposter in the room, right? Like you're like, who am I to be here, right? So what I've noticed is that the people who learn the most who are the ones who just come from a humble point of view. I know nothing, like I know nothing, but I'm here to learn. And that commands a lot of respect. And people who do know are willing more to empower you and impart their knowledge because you're coming from a place of humility. So a lot of times people stop and think like, well, I can't do it. I'm going to seem dumb or I'm going to seem like I don't know. It's okay. Just come from a place of humility and say, I don't know. But I'm here to learn. And then people respect that. And no matter which industry you're going into, you can do that. And I agree with you that we did a macro view. We can definitely do deep dives on any one of the topics, including the big one that's actually more lethal than any war at this point, which is the onslaught of AI, right? So it's going to affect your ability to derive, a living far more than the policies and the old sort outs of whatever has happened in the last 100 years, which is what we're trying to sort out. We've got another challenge that we've got to focus on. And we're not, because we're still trying to fix the last 100 years issues rather than focus on what's coming down the pipeline. So all of these things are coming. So we are living through a time of constant change. The only constant at this point is change. And if you can accept that, embrace that, and profit from it, benefit from it for yourself, for your family, then you're going to be in the driver's seat of your life. Otherwise, you're going to be a passenger in the back of the bus as the bus goes off the cliff. So be careful.
This has been an extremely useful episode on the eve of Christmas. So, guys, a happy New Year, happy Christmas. Jaden Sage, my old buddy, is investor, speaker, advisor. Needless to say that all the links of his projects you may find into this description, and hope we delivered something unique and useful and different viewpoint on today's world, which is extremely full of opportunities. Nonetheless, regardless of all the horror and terrible you may see on your news on everyday basis, don't pay attention to them. Go learn and thrive live your own life. Thank you very much, Jaden. I hope we'll see you in the next episodes of the Smart NFT podcast as well in 2024. And like, guys, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for next great content, and bye-bye. Blockchain. BLOCK chain. Digital money, smart contracts, NFT, IDO, decentralization, transparency. So many opportunities, but so many challenges. Some financial manipulators, by their actions, confuse blockchain solutions and block their development. The idea that the blockchain should bring copyright and royalties protection to the next level is quite old, but the realizations of these ideas are not perfect at all. There is another problem of determining the value of a particular cryptocurrency or NFT. These and other problems need to be solved. Fortunately, the blockchain infrastructure is evolving. My name is E, Mr. E, and I represent the Envelope project. Many things have already been invented in the blockchain today. Tokens, smart contracts, platforms for creating your own coins, NFTs, exchanges for buying, selling, and exchanging all these blockchain resources. Envelope is another step in the development of crypto technologies. The protocol that works with NFT and cryptocurrencies. The idea is simple but disruptive. Let's assume you have an NFT, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Using the Envelope protocol, you can wrap the original NFT accompanied with several tokens. Technically, you get a similar NFT, but what is the breakthrough here? Once wrapped, the token has a number of additional features that were not available before. The minimal cost appears. It is provided with coins wrapped together with NFT. An asset wrapped with Envelope has a number of properties that allow the original author to receive royalties from the resale of that asset. Various rules can be applied to the wrapped token. For example, a lock period for unwrapping. It secures the asset till the determined moment or safeguards it from speculation during the hype period. At the same time, wrapped tokens can be transferred and traded. These are just some of the scenarios for using Envelope. NFTs become more popular, and the tools provided by Envelope expand the opportunities of NFTs utilization. Wide application possibilities are achieved due to the fact that, in addition to the protocol, the project includes a number of subsystems. The protocol provides functions wrapping and unwrapping. Oracle Mechanics provides asset valuation using analytical algorithms. Index provides a summary assessment of several NFT assets with the common criteria. The project has its own token, which connects all elements of the system. Altogether, this is Envelope, a tool in the blockchain world for building modern and secure systems in various fields. Find more info about the project on the website. Envelope. Make your NFT valuable. Just practical, no hype.